Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News on 3FM. My name is Beatrice Adu. The news is also live on Kesmi 107.1 FM and across the world at 3news.com. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Ghana Health Service heightens surveillance on monkeypox virus despite its insistence no cases have been recorded. The African Center for Disease Control, however, says 4 cases have been reported in the country. Also coming up on the program, flag bearer of NDC, John Mahama, takes his campaign tour to the stronghold of the party in the Volta region, where he is expected to meet traditional leaders and party supporters. Also coming up, we take you to the hearing of the Public Accounts Committee, which is currently scrutinizing infractions in public accounts of universities. And much later, workers at Pambros Salt Company resist attempt to sell off portions of the company. We'll be live in that part to bring you the latest from there. Thank you very much for joining us today. Now, the Ghana Health Service has issued a red alert for the outbreak of the monkeypox virus. This is despite the services contesting the African Center for Disease Surveillance latest report suggesting that Ghana has recorded 4 new cases of the viral infection. Monkeypox, which used to be called Mpox, which used to be called monkeypox, is an infectious viral disease that can occur in humans and other animals. It can also cause a painful rash, enlarged lump nodes, and fever. Most people fully recover, but some get very sick. The latest updates by the African Center for Disease Surveillance had identified, now for the Ghana Health Service, it has intensified disease surveillance. And we'll bring you some more on that. But we have on the line Sarah Pinko, who is my colleague. Following up on this, Sarah, the Ghana Health Service is contesting this update, suggesting 4 new cases have been recorded. What can you tell us?
Well, Beatrice, like you rightly said, the WHO is actually converging an emergency meeting for some selected independent experts across the Ghana is among the countries that have been selected to be part of this meeting because as of yesterday, Rwanda and Burundi have also recorded cases, and we are Congo recording the highest number of cases. As we speak, the Ghana Health Service says there isn't any case of monkeypox in the country this year. The last case was in 2013, that was last year, and the severe one was in 2022, where we had the 4 deaths, which had been misrepresented by the CDC. So currently, they are retraining the clinicians to ensure in case of any outbreak, we could contain it because they are more worried. Nigeria is also recording cases. But as of now, there are no monkeypox cases in the country, but they are heightening the surveillance to ensure they are able to beat it as they did last year when we had some reported cases.
Thank you very much, Sarah Pinko, reporting live on this very case. The Ghana Health Service contesting that report that 4 cases of Mpox have been reported in the country. We do have Professor Fred Abinka, who is a clinical epidemiologist and a public health expert. Good afternoon to you, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Good afternoon, and thank you for having me.
Prof, we know that the WHO, for instance, is convening an emergency meeting tomorrow regarding Mpox outbreak. How much of a health threat does this pose to us?
Well, viruses are always a health threat to all people, wherever you find them, because we don't have treatment for them. Fortunately for this one, we do have a vaccine, but the vaccine is so expensive, it's unavailable. So they are really threats to us, and what we need to do is to be ahead of the virus rather than behind it.
Now, the Ghana Health Service is contradicting, really, the figures which have been put out by the African Center for Diseases, saying that 4 cases have been recorded. Ghana Health Service is denying that. How are you interpreting this?
Well, I'm not surprised about that because we all need to have a very strong surveillance system since COVID-19. I think we have, our system is doing well, but there's still a lot more to be done. And we don't have a stock of reagents, which are important for the diagnosis. In this case, the cases are showing a typical diagnostic test are being shown. And secondly, we need to be able to map out quickly and send around people to be able to find wherever we find the virus, to find the contact and to test the contact. So we are not solidly, our surveillance system cannot be passed very quickly. So those figures are important for both sides.
Obviously, you're not so impressed with our level of surveillance, as it were. But in the meantime, since we are not even having clarity on whether or not Ghana has reported any cases, what do you expect Ghanaians to do, really, to keep themselves safe?
Well, first of all, the surveillance system has wake up. A negative answer is as important as a positive one. So they must be up to all the surveillance points across the country to find out whether we are finding these cases. Secondly, they must send this back to all the hospitals because the presentation of this case is very interesting. Initial phases is just like malaria, has a fever, has the muscle pain, and so on, and it just makes like you're having malaria. And unfortunately, it affects both children and adults. So we need to send this message around and see whether we are finding those cases. Secondly, in its second version, it has the blisters, which you can see clearly. You don't need anything to diagnose that. So we need to get this out there very, very quickly. And then for the people, you should remember that this case is transmitted both sexually in our part of the world, in Africa, West Africa. In this DRC Congo, they found that some of it is transmitted through eating infected meat, bush meat. And we do eat bush meat here. So those are some of the things that people have to take into consideration. We need to create the physical barriers because physical contact can also lead to the infection. So these are the news items that must go out very quickly. And anybody who starts getting a fever is not very happy with progress should report to the nearest health facility, and then we take it from there.
Thank you very much, Professor Fred Binka. He's a clinical epidemiologist and a public health expert. Let's now hear the Ghana Health Service, a representative there contradicting, as it were, that information put out by the African Center for Diseases.
Cases. So we are kind of updating our response plan about how to address the current threat of mpox. We have a national mpox plan that was 2022, but when the outbreak went down, we kind of folded it up. Now we have a new set, so we now need to look at what else do we need to do. Let's say the old one. Let's say you say maybe you establish centers, now you have a center. So you need to change the wording. So it's about what is new in the plan that you need to do. So that's what we are doing. And we've had informal discussions. We are going to have our EOC meetings to firm up the plan. We submitted, I would say, a draft plan to Africa CDC, but we are going to try to kind of finalize the national plan to them. But the main issue is about surveillance. So I'm making sure that the cases, when they occur, they are detected early.
And you had Dr. Franklin Asiedu Bekoin, who is Director of Public Health at the Ghana Health Service, contesting that report put out by the African Center for Disease Surveillance. Earlier, you heard our reporter, Sarah Apenkro, giving us updates there. You're still here on the Midday News on 3FM. It's some 10 minutes past the hour of 12. Now, let's go to the outskirts of the Greater Accra region, because there's tension at Pamber Salt Company in the Wejagbawe municipality of the Greater Accra region as workers vow to resist any attempt to sell off part of their land to a Chinese company. The workers say they fear this is an attempt to collapse the salt factory, which has employed over 1,000 workers. Joseph Armstrong is at the premises and joins us live now. Joseph, can you provide a detailed update on the situation at Pamber Salt Company now?
Yeah, currently, I'm still at the Pamber company, where you see many of the workers all clad in red bands, very upset and angry because they claim that this work they've been doing for the past so many years, about 50 years in standing. They fear that the attempt to collapse the company, because earlier they told us that portions of their land were given to some other investors, that they've lost huge chunk of their land to other investors. But currently, another attempt is being made by the municipal assembly and that of the chief here to sell off another plot of land, so much land to these new investors that with the Chinese firm. And already, even though the issue is yet to resolve, the other company, which is the Chinese firm, is already bringing in nitrite and other materials on the land. And these workers have vowed to resist with any by any means. And as I said to you now, we don't have a police or any security officers here to prevent should this issue escalate. And we are told that the management of the Pamber company have written to the regional police command. They've also gone to the RCC, that's the Regional Coordinating Council, to ensure that they are provided with security here, because the Chinese firms are told come along with what we describe as a land guard. So they are unable to resist any activities they take place. And this within the Pamber company. And the management here says that this land is their land. They've registered, they've been to the Minerals Commission, and also the Ministry of Lands have given them the permit, and the entire place belongs to them. Unfortunately, this new development is coming up, and then they fear that if we don't have the police and the regional coordinating council coming in to ensure law and order, it may lead to a different event, which maybe something bad untoward may have happened. May have happened if care is not taken.
Armstrong, let me ask you two questions in one. How are the workers expressing their resistance to the potential sale of the land to the Chinese company, aside from this protest which is currently ongoing? And also, if you have any information on this Chinese company interested in buying this company?
Richard, so the last question, I don't have any information on the Chinese company, but we are told it's been led by a Ghanaian to develop the area. Now, the first question, the workers, they are carrying student currency and other weapons, they want to call it, saying they are ready to resist any attempt by any person coming to claim ownership of this land, because if they sit and say and watch, they are going to lose their livelihood, and they will not allow. Don't forget, similar issue happened somewhere in Ada, also a salt mining area. But this time around, it appears to be a foreigner coming in, and the workers feel their livelihood is being threatened, and they will not take any of that.
Thank you very much, Joseph Armstrong, there reporting live from that protest organized by workers of Pamber Salt Company, who are resisting what they call attempt to sell off the company to a Chinese company. And I'll bring you updates as and when we have it. Now, the Public Accounts Committee of Parliament has charged management of public universities to review their policies to make it difficult for lecturers on scholarship abroad to abscond after after completing their studies. It follows the 2023 Auditor General's report, which cited some lecturers of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, KNUST, who failed to return to duty post after being sponsored by the university for further studies abroad. The said staff also received salaries during their stay abroad. The Attorney Auditor General has recommended that management takes steps to recover the unearned salaries and sums expended on their studies. And we'll be bringing you some more on this as and when we have it. You're still here on the Midday News on Sri FM 92.7. Now, flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress, John Mahama, has made bold promises regarding economic reforms and taxation policies during a town hall meeting at the Bukom Boxing Arena here in Accra. The event forms part of his campaign strategy for the upcoming December 7 elections. Now, during the event, the former president reiterated his pledge to eliminate the electronic levy, e-levy, and the tax on betting, on bet winning if he is elected. Listen to exactly what he said.
This one, it be matter with the concern the youth, plenty. So we talk already. Say where we come, the betting tax we go remove them. This government, the IMF sign agreement, it be so they bring the betting tax. But we for find alternative revenue to plug the whole way the betting tax will cost. So as the young boys, the street boys, the hustlers, no get work to do. For the meantime, they go do this small betting. Then we go do the 24-hour economy, where it comes, everybody get work to do, everybody they work. Then we go say, but you where they bet, you get work. Then you see. So for now, make the boys be, make the be.
And you heard former President John Mahama, who is also flag bearer of the opposition National Democratic Congress. Now, by abolishing these taxes, he aims to ease the financial strain on ordinary Ghanaians and establish a fairer tax system. But with Ghana under an ongoing International Monetary Fund (IMF) program and needing revenue to plug loopholes, will abolishing these taxes take a hit on the economy, or are there other means the government can adopt to sustain the growth in the economy? You're still here on the Midday News on Sri FM 92.7. Yes, here on the Midday News on Sri FM 92.7. Let's stay a bit longer on the NDC flag bearer, John Mahama, and he is commencing a 4-day campaign tour of the party stronghold, the Volta region. John Mahama is expected to galvanize the base of the party in that region with his policies going into the December elections. Let's listen to what he said so far.
If you hear the description of the Volta region as the World Bank of the NDC, it is not because of the nominal votes that we get in the region. Because if you take just the nominal votes we get, then it is not the biggest that we get, but it is about the percentage of votes that we get. And Volta region, when it comes to NDC's results in the presidential, Volta region is always the highest. And that is why it has earned the name the World Bank. Now, in 2020, if you look at the results we got in Volta region, we got above 84%. Above 84%. It is not the highest we have gotten, because in Rawlings' time, MPP used to get single digit in Volta region. In 2020, they have climbed and climbed and climbed And in 2020, they got 14%. And so it means that they are making inroads into the Volta region. Now, what do? They use propaganda. And they come and tell you that you vote for NDC all the time. And yet NDC has done nothing for you. They're going to come with a lot of money. They've made money in 8 years. Their war chest is full. But remember what happened to them in Asen North. You heard about Asen North by-election. So a song came, Yedi, 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 oh, Chasopoku Sikano, Yedi. You see, the van that carries money from bank to bank. When bank needs money, they put the money in a van and they take it to the bank. Those, they call them bullion vans. Those bullion vans were in Asen North. And they were packed with 200 CD notes. 200 CD notes. And I went to Asen North myself. And anybody who was going to vote 200 CDs, 200 CDs, 200 CDs, 200 CDs, 200 CDs. And we told the people, we said, look, at first the people were afraid. They say if you chop the money and you don't vote for them, Kwelekweji will catch you. And we told the people, if somebody steals your money and the person brings your money back to you, there's no Kwelekweji matter in this one. And so collect the money and chop it. Asen North, they chopped the money, but they went and voted for the truth. Nobody has died from Kwelekweji in Asen North for chopping that money. So they are going to come with the money. And I'm telling you, the people of Japan, North Tongue, when the money comes, collect it and chop it.
You have former President John Mahama, who is also flag bearer of the opposition NDC, on day one of his 4-day tour of the party's stronghold, the Volta region. Now, young people are being encouraged to commit themselves to agricultural value chain industry to help Ghana in its quest to reduce food import. Stakeholders in the agri sector are convinced this will not only generate decent income for young people, but position the country to attain sustainable food security. At an engagement with the youth on the potentials in the agri sector, the young people were asked to take up the challenge and improve on their lives rather than folding their arms and complaining of unemployment. Ibrahim Abubakar is Ashanti region correspondent. He joins us live on the line. Ibrahim, if you can hear me, it's quite obvious that the interest of the Ghanaian youth in agriculture is not that encouraging, considering the barriers such as acquisition of land, access to credit facility, etc. Is there any intervention really to address these challenges before they are pushed into it?
Well, exactly. So in December 2023, we have the MasterCard Foundation partnering with Agri Impact to roll out some transformative program for young people called HAPPY. That's in short, Harnessing Agriculture Productivity and Prosperity for the Youth. Now, this is targeting towards engaging over 300,000 youths, and they want to provide them with all the inputs, and they are looking at even 4 agriculture chains: soya, rice, poultry, and maize as well, because these are foodstuffs we consume a lot into the country. And when you look at poultry, 90% of the poultry product we consume in Ghana is imported into the country. So this is something that they are looking at, targeting the youth and also create employment, because for some of the stakeholders, they do not understand why we have the potential in engaging in agri, yet you come to Ghana and youth unemployment keep rising and rising. So they are just bringing them this intervention, telling them that if you are ready to be involved in the agriculture sector, then these kind of interventions will be available for you. So you enter, like you rightly said, most of the youth feel discouraged going in because, one, acquisition of land is a major problem to them, and also access to credit. So you engage them and they tell you that without these things, they are unable to start. And even when they start, they cannot go anywhere, and they end up losing all their investments that they've put in. So this is an engagement with the youth, just so they will tell them the opportunities available and also how they can access some of these opportunities, so that going forward we will reduce import of food in the country and also ensure that we have sustainable food system in the country. And I know Daniel Akwe, who is the CEO of Agro Impact, has been speaking to me on this.
We cannot have young people who are looking for jobs, and then we are importing almost everything that we are eating, whether it is rice or tomato and fish and meat. We are importing to supplement what we are producing. If you look at demand for rice, how do we convert the demand for rice instead of importing into job opportunities for young people?
And you heard Dan Akwe, he is CEO of Agri Impact. Earlier you heard our Ashanti region correspondent Ibrahim Abubakar bringing us updates there on that stakeholder engagement in the agri sector, trying to convince young people to go into agriculture. Let's go to our early story about the Public Accounts Committee and the sitting happening today, where members of the committee have charged management of public universities to review their policies to make it difficult for lecturers on scholarship abroad to abscond after completing their studies. George Quaining is monitoring PAC sittings for us today. He joins us live on the line. George, what can you report from there?
Thank you so much, Beatrice. And since morning till now, some 6 educational institutions have appeared before the committee, and that includes Akentima Piamenka University of Skills Training, UPSA, University of Ghana, coming from University of Science and Technology, KEMPA, and UCC. And with that of the University of Ghana, the committee has directed the management of the Premier University to recover a total of $383,000 from its debtors. And this follows the Auditor General's report, which identified several institutions that uphold the university for over 9 years. Some of these debtors include Telecel Ghana, Airtel Tigo, MultiChoice, Fidelity Bank, and Crystal TV. And with that of the coming from University of Science and Technology, they're actually urging government to consider hiring more lecturers to address the growing student population. According to the management, the challenge is not only unique to their institution, but it's a widespread issue affecting all public universities in the country, which necessitates a comprehensive solution. And this was said by the Vice Chancellor of the University, Professor Areta Akusha Dixon. And she also made some concerns, the fact that there's some disregard for speed limit on campus by students following the tragic death of a student identified as Ajo Ahaji. Ajo was struck by a vehicle while riding her bicycle along Cloud House Road on the NAS campus. And with that of NAS too as well, they're also pursuing some $1.2 million from their debtors. That includes University of ECG and SNIT and the Sun City Hotels. And they rented spaces for some projects. And then they've recovered some of the money, but in total it's $1.2 million. As it stands now, the Forestry Commission, which is being led by the Deputy Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, is sitting in that of the Data Protection Commission. So they are actually, appearing before the committee. After that, they'll go back to the educational institutions. Beatrice.
Thank you very much, George Quaining, reporting live from the Public Accounts Committee, which is currently sitting. Now, before we go, commercial sex workers along the Circle Railway line are back to work again, only 2 months after the Greater Accra Regional Minister Titus Glover disbanded commercial sex activities in the enclave and halted reconstruction of bordellos. And Stanley Nibleo has been following up on this story. He joins us live in the studio for a brief chat. Stanley, just tell us what you saw. I'm sure you've been there.
Yes, so I was there earlier today, and when the fire gutted the place last 2 months, I was there to report as well. And before the fire gutted the place, I have been there, I've seen the activities, and this is a booming sex industry we can talk about in Accra. And this is happening right on Ghana Railways land. When you go there, a whole lot of activities are happening. And actually, it has become a business venture because there are two parts involved. There are the sex components, and there are the faction too that are into the construction and renting of the brothels for these sex workers for their activities. And so this has been a very lucrative commercial hub for these sex workers. And so when the fire gutted the place, it interrupted their activities. And
but now they are back.
Immediately, the day after the fire gutted the place, the regional minister went there because the sex workers were trying to put together.
I remember he warned that they shouldn't reconstruct the place.
Great. And so after that warning, they actually didn't work or reconstruct their structures on the land that actually got burnt. But just opposite that land is another buffer for the railway company.
Stanley,
and
I'm
that
sure
is what they have encroached, and they are currently doing their activities.
I'm sure we're going to have more time for you to tell us really what's happening. But when you went there this morning, you still saw them working.
They are
even
working
in the morning.
Even when I was passing by, they were when you go there, because they've chained up their brothels, they are seated at the doorstep of their brothels, and when they cite any prospective client, then they'll be doing. So once you turn, then they'll beckon you to approach.
Stanley, we'll have to continue with this later. Thank you so much, Stanley Niblo, there, reporting that apparently sex workers on the Circle Railway line have resumed work just 2 months after they were warned by the Greater Accra Regional Minister not to reconstruct the place following a fire outbreak. We'll bring you some more and details later. My name is Beatrice Adu. Thank you very much for joining us today. Have a good afternoon.